Hi everyone, I'm Professor Hu from the University of Johannesburg. In this video, we are going to study the basic theories of Chinese medicine. As you may know from the history of Chinese medicine has been constantly practiced with evidence for more than 2,500 years. At the moment, we still can see the initial book, the works of Huangdi Neijing, the most important concepts that we are using today. So in these few videos, in the basic theories, we're going to introduce the key concepts or the key framework that we use every single day, which originated from Huangdi Neijing. So firstly, to study Chinese medicine, we must know what's the definition of Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine originated in ancient China. It is a medical science that applies the principles of natural science to understand and study human health and disease, integrating knowledge from multiple disciplines. From the definition, you can see that what we're focusing on is actually human health and diseases. So these are also the key aspects that we are focusing for health promotion for disease prevention. So for Chinese medicine, we don't only focus on the treatments for diseases, but also the prevention. So as we study further, you will know how to maintain health to prevent being sick. Also, the categories of Chinese medicine is a natural science and integrating with knowledge from multiple disciplines, and these disciplines including astronomy, meteorology, geography. So we study the relationship of the universe, for example, the planets, the relationship between the Earth and the Sun. That's where the yin and yang theory comes from. The geography, where you live, may affect your health. Where you live may affect your body constitutions, or in other simpler words is the nature, the property of your body. We are in South Africa. You can see that people live in Johannesburg, people live in Durban, or people live in Cape Town. They may be different. Their body constitution may be different. The change of the diseases may be different. One of the reasons is because the location. Johannesburg is in high grounds. It's more than 1,000 kilometers, and then Cape Town and Durban is sea level, and also the climates among these areas are different. In Durban, it's like it's a little bit hot and humid. In Chinese medicine, it's damp heat. Damp heat will affect spleen, and in Cape Town, maybe windy, maybe cold, depends on the seasons. So you can see our human health going to be affected by the geography, going to be affected by the climate, going to be affected by the agriculture. So how agriculture can affect Chinese medicine or human health is also depends on the techniques in agriculture. Botanic, related to plants, materia medica, and military science. How does Chinese medicine related to military science? This is actually related to how we see diseases. For example, a very simple example is fever. How we see fever is the fight between your immune system and the pathogens. When the fight becomes very violent and you got high-grade fever, and also how to construct your prescription of acupoints. We also have the thoughts from military science. In future, when you study how to prescribe acupoints, you will understand how to construct for example, in one prescription, we need the generals, we need the staff to support the general or the most important person in the army for the fight. So all these thoughts is from the military science, mathematics, and also winemaking. and also the processing of minds. So all these will be integrated in Chinese medicine, especially in Chinese herbal medicine. So this is a division of natural science. It incorporates elements of social science. It also shaped by Asian philosophy. That's what we are going to study now, of the axons, the yin and yang theory, the theory of 5 elements, and also interdisciplinary by nature. So the definition here is we're going to focus on, is you must understand that Chinese medicine is a natural science, which means it does not relate to religions, as we mentioned in the history. There's no religion involved. We only talk about medical science. And the focus of Chinese medicine is human health and diseases. Although in the basic theory, we don't really pay too much attention to the history of Chinese medicine, but there are 4 works of the classics works that you must remember. The first one is 黄帝内经. The second one is 黄帝81难经. The third one is 神农本草经. The last one is 伤寒杂病论. In this video, we are not going to discuss in detail about these 4 books, but if you're interested in, you may refer to the history of Chinese medicine that I explain in detail about these 4 books. 黄帝内经. Huangdi is the name of one emperor, and in this book explain the most important and comprehensive concepts that we use today, including the holistic concepts, the theory of yin and yang, and also the Zangfu organs. That's in the next unit we're going to focus on. And all the basic theory actually based on 黄帝内经. 黄帝内经, it was written around 2,500 years ago around 475 BC. Because of the duration or the time, it's quite far from today. Even at that time, 黄帝内经 was written in a very difficult words, very difficult way to be understood. So afterwards, other authors, other scholars try to explain 黄帝内经. That's why the second book started from 黄帝, still the same surname of the title. 81 means 81. 难经 means difficult questions. So the second classics is actually the explanation of the first book. And they pick 81 questions or 81 difficult questions. They fully explains in this book. These 2 become the theoretical foundation of Chinese medicine. That's also what you're going to study mostly in your basic theory in these few videos. The third one is 神农本草经. 神农, the name of 神农is a figure, like a legend figure in Chinese culture. 本草 is materia medica. So this book focuses on Chinese materia medica. And 伤寒杂病论. This book became the classics because this book was written about 1,800 years ago. As I mentioned previously, 黄帝内经 and 黄帝81难经, these 2 classics more focus on theories, the concepts, the philosophies. And then 神农本草经, the third one, is more for materia medica. So as you can see, these 2, and the materia medica including the functions, the indications of these herbal medicines. So as you can see now, there are 2 books that focus on the theories, and one focuses on materia medica, focus on therapeutics. They separate. And at that time, there are also some practitioners. They, in a simpler words, is they don't like each other. The one focuses on the theories. So for example, the one who studied 黄帝内经 well, or 黄帝81难经 well, they feel like the one who studied 神农本草经, those practitioners, they feel like you can see patients, you can treat diseases, but you don't know why. Because for the third classics, They mostly talk about the materia medica, they talk about the functions. For this herbal medicine, these plants you can use for which disease, but they don't really have that much theory to support why or to explain why it works. And then from the first two books, in these books they have a lot of theories. So it explains well for human diseases, how to prevent the diseases, how to treat diseases, but in these two books, they didn't provide prescriptions, which means you know what happened to the patient, you know why it happens, and you also probably will know how to prevent these, but you don't really know how to treat these diseases, because in these two books, they don't have materia medica or acupoint, not much acupoints. Although in the second volume of Huangdi Neijing, they discuss about acupuncture. That's also in the therapeutics you can study mostly from Huangdi Neijing. So basically, the program at University of Johannesburg, you'll study the content knowledge based on Huangdi Neijing. But at that time, they got these two group of practitioners. And then the last one, 伤寒杂病论, the author Zhang Zhongjing, he combined the two streams of medicine, the theoretical practitioners and the clinicians. He included two in one book. At the first part, he explains what symptoms the patient may have for specific disease. The second part, then he provides the prescription. And this is the first or the most important integration of the theory and clinical practice or the beings. And this book, why so important now is because firstly, it is the first book that we can see today have the integration of the theory and the actual treatments or actual treatment plans. The second reason, or even more important, is the efficacy, the results, the function of the prescription recorded in this book is valuable. Even today, we still can use the prescription directly from this book. For instance, in the past few years, we were experiencing COVID-19. So the treatments for COVID-19 in China, Chinese medicine were integrated immediately as the first-line medicine together with conventional medicine. And the prescription to treat COVID-19 is from this book, 1,800 years ago. So you can see the value of the history, also the value of the prescription here. Most importantly is the concepts that we need to learn from different perspectives. You don't really focus on your tiny room, your comfort room, that you feel like, oh, I know the theory, I don't need all those. Or I only know how to practice, I don't need the theory. If you have a broader mindsets, your skills, your ways of thinking will be better and better. So for the basic theory of Chinese medicine, in these few videos, also in this module, the details of these books are not important, although they are important in the history. And also, if you want to be a great or good practitioner in Chinese medicine, you need to learn these books. But in terms of the module, you will need to remember the titles of these 4 books. You don't need to remember the details. If you want to know the details more, you may refer to the history of Chinese medicine. In these few videos, I try to keep the concept as simple as possible, but still you need to grab the key concepts that you will be using every single day. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to introduce the features of Chinese medicine theoretical framework. There are a few. How to develop, or where did these concepts come from? The first is the direct observation of human life and natural phenomena. The second is the integration of Asian philosophy into medicine. So the observation of human life or the natural phenomena is the direct observation. For example, after human or people pass away, you can dissect the body to the cadaver, and then you can see the details. And these details were recorded in Huangdi Neijing, which means 2,500 years ago, the practitioners of Chinese medicine already tried to understand human body, human health from anatomy point of view. That's why in Huangdi Neijing, it describes the length of the digestive system, for example, from your throat to the anus, the distance. Large intestine, the length of large intestine. In Huangdi Neijing, also describe different gates of your digestive system. There are 7 gates, for example, the throat, the tongue, the throat, the upper parts of the stomach, the lower parts, the start of the small intestine, and all these are from observation. After people pass away, and then when they disturb the cadaver, and then they can see the structure of human body. So that's the direct observation of human body. And also in the Asian period, those people, they try to observe natural phenomena. How to observe the natural phenomena is actually from a lot of stuff. For example, the yin and yang, we're going to introduce in the next few videos. You're going to observe the change of the sun and the moon, the change of the seasons, the temperature. These are all direct observation. And also the integration of Asian philosophies into medicine. We give one example is the holistic observation, the qi, blood meridian, and all these we're going to introduce in detail in the next a few videos. And one of the most important observation or interfere or try to kind of reference that type of technique is, for example, these 2 photos here. When you see the fruits, how do you know which one tastes better or which one sweeter? Then you can observe the appearance, because the one on the right side will taste better than the one on the left side. Just from the appearance, when you see the nets, the white nets, the white nets, the more you see that one, it tastes better. So this is exactly the same why we observe the facial complexion. We observe the tongue of the patient, and then we try to conclude what happened to the patient, what happened to the internal organs. So these are the approaches. That's how to develop the theoretical framework. And we apply this type of way of thinking in every single part of Chinese medicine, even in the functions of materia medica, the functions of acupoints. So after the study of Chinese medicine, I also hope you will kind of have the way of thinking to try to observe from nature and apply to human health. The reason why we say Chinese medicine is a natural medicine is not only because we use herbal medicine or we use the needles instead of chemicals or the tablets, yes, in other simpler words. The reason why we say we are natural medicine is because we learn from nature, we apply the laws for nature on human health. So for instance, how can human or we become healthy? It's how the trees or the plants on the planets become healthy. When the plants need to become healthy, you need the sun, you need the soil, the earth, you need the fertilizer, you need water. These are the fundamental elements for any plant to grow well. So similarly, our human body, we also need these, but where are these? The earth, in future, when you study the Zhangfu theory afterwards, you know that's the digestive function. And then the water, the body fluids, the sun, the heat in the body. So all these we're going to explain later or more in detail in just in different concepts. But where did we get this concept from? If from nature. So that's why we said we are natural medicine, just because we learn from nature. And lastly, the theoretical framework of Chinese medicine includes the fundamental theories, diagnostic approaches, materia medica, and formula or prescriptions. These are the four. The first two help you to understand the disease, understand human health. The second one, diagnostic approaches, help you to, these are the tools, help you to gather the information. The information including the signs and symptoms of disease. The materia medica, including acupoints here, are your bullets when you fight with your army. And then the formula or the prescription is what says the military science, how to construct your soldiers to fight with the enemy. It explores the fundamental concepts, principles, methodologies of Chinese medical practice. And these are the key concepts that you begin to study in the basic theory. The first one is the holistic concepts. The second one is the theory of accents, or in the direct translation is Jin Qi theory. The third one is the theory of yin and yang, and also the theory of 5 elements. These are the like philosophical concepts. And then afterwards, we're going to learn the Zangfu organs. And the meridians, that's not in the basic theory, but in the acupuncture, acupoints and meridians, you're going to learn in details. Essence and qi, blood, body fluids, and these you're going to learn in details. Another key characteristics of Chinese medicine is the syndrome differentiation and treatment variations. The syndrome differentiation and treatment variations, it's actually very typical here. It's just in simpler words is you may treat the disease, you may treat different diseases with the same acupoints, with the same prescription, or you may treat the same disease on different patients with different prescription, the same disease on different patient with different prescription, or different diseases with the same prescription. So we're going to discuss this in detail in the next video. Thank you.